All right, guys, this is the solving right triangles video using SOHCAHTOA. If you haven't already, go and copy down everything in this box. Those are notes. So press pause if you need some time to copy those down. Otherwise, we're going to move on. The first thing you want to double check, guys, is make sure your calculator's in degree mode. It needs to be in degree mode for all these questions. So what you need to do in your calculator, press the mode key and scroll down and highlight degree if it's not highlighted. You can hit second mode to get out of that screen and return to the main screen of the calculator. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's see how we're going to solve these problems. So you learned this in geometry, the SOHCAHTOA model, and all of the three ratios you need to know are right here. Sine is the opposite side of the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent side of the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over adjacent side of the triangle. So we're going to do one example using each trig function. So let's start with this first example in the top right corner. So you notice the angle they give us here in this problem is 34 degrees. So using that essentially as our reference angle for this problem, you have to identify whether x is the opposite side, the hypotenuse, or the adjacent side. We should recognize x as the opposite side of 34 degrees. And really it's the opposite side because 34 degrees is formed by this side in red and this side in green. The opposite side is not one of the sides that helps form that angle. So that's why x is the opposite side from 34 degrees. It's not touching the angle at all. So I'm going to label x as my O side, it's the opposite. And then you should recognize 13, the other number they give you in this problem, as the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So it's the longest side of that right triangle. That's what makes it the hypotenuse. So we've got the O side and you've got the H side. So you look down here, which trig function uses the O side and the H side? That's the sine trig function. So that determines that we're going to use the sine trig function for this problem. So we're simply going to take the sine of the angle of the problem, abbreviated SIN. So the sine of 34 degrees is equal to the opposite side, which in this case is x. You can use whatever variable you like, over the hypotenuse, which is 13. I'm going to put the sine of 34 over 1. And here you have a fraction equal to another fraction, so we can simply cross multiply to solve for x. So one cross product is going to be 13 times the sine of 34. Make sure in your calculator here so that 34 degrees is in a closed parenthesis. And the other cross product is just 1 times x. 34 is not one of our special angles, and the only way to calculate a decimal here is to put this in your calculator and just type it in exactly like it looks. 13 times the sine of 34. Close your parenthesis. We get 7.26. Let's just round this to the nearest 10. So x is approximately 7.3. Let's do a couple more. So the next problem, they give us the angle 25. So you have to determine the two sides in this problem, the 63.4 and the z, whether they're opposite hypotenuse or adjacent. So you should recognize this side across from it is the opposite side, but they don't give us any information about that side, and they don't ask us to find that side. So we're not going to use the O, but we are going to use the H, because z, the side we're looking for here, our unknown variable, is the side opposite the right angle. So that's our hypotenuse, which means 63.4 has to be the adjacent side. And adjacent just basically means next to the angle. The hypotenuse is also next to the angle, but it's already been labeled the hypotenuse, so it can't be the adjacent and the hypotenuse side. So A and H. So look back up here at the top. This means this problem we're going to use the cosine trig function. So you're going to take the cosine of 25 degrees, put it over 1, set it equal to the adjacent side, 63.4, over the hypotenuse side, call it whatever variable you like, z. Now we're going to cross multiply the same way we did last time. It's a little different here this time, though. When we cross product this way, 1 times 63.4 is just 63.4. When we cross product this way, you get z times the cosine of 25 degrees. So to solve for z, you've got an added step here where you need to divide both sides by the cosine of 25 degrees. So cross out on the right side, z is going to equal 63.4 divided by the cosine of 25 is. So again, we can just put that in the calculator and divide it by the cosine of 25. So round this up, this rounds to approximately 70. And we'll call it 70 centimeters since that's how they labeled the other sides. All right, last problem of this type. This time they give you 40. You should recognize 20 as the opposite side from 40. And x is the adjacent side. Again, that side is right next to the given angle. That's what makes it adjacent. And we know this longest side over here, opposite the right angle, is the hypotenuse. But we don't need the hypotenuse in this problem. So this is the tangent trig function. The tangent uses the opposite and adjacent side. So you take the tangent, 40 degrees, that are equal to 20 over x. One more time, cross multiply. This cross product is x times the tangent of 40. The other cross product is just 20. And divide both sides by the tangent of 40 degrees. Using abbreviation of t here, make it a little bit quicker. So it's like about 23.8 if we round that to the nearest tenth. All right, so moving to the next page. The only difference here is here we're going to try to find the angle. So this time, instead of finding a side, we're going to find the angle. The only thing you really need to do is anytime you're finding the angle, you're going to use the second key in your calculator. So you can see that note there. Use the second key in your calculator when you're trying to find the angle. So the angle we're given in this problem is x. 5 is the opposite side from x. 14 is opposite the right angle, so that makes it a hypotenuse. So O and H, this means we're going to use the sine trig function. Sine of x degrees equals the opposite over hypotenuse. This time cross multiplication doesn't get us anywhere. So that's why we're going to hit the second key. I'll do it on the calculator here in a second. And ultimately, it looks like this. So second sine 5 divided by 14. So about 20.9 degrees. So that is angle x. If they ask for you to come up with the other angle in the problem, they may on some of these questions ask for you to come up with all three angles inside the triangle. Erase this. Again, this angle is, we said it was 20.9 degrees. Recall there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So that means to find the third angle of this triangle, we're just going to take 180, subtract the 90-degree angle, and subtract 20.9 degree angle. So that means this missing angle is approximately 69.1 degrees. If they ask for you to find the third side of the triangle, again, you could use trig if you wanted to find the third side of this triangle, just like we have been. You could use either one of these angles to do it. Or, since you know two sides of a right triangle, you can do Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. So that would be 14 squared equals 5 squared plus, we'll just call the third side, b. And then just simply solve that to find the third side. But I won't go into that because we've done that, I think, enough times. And then these last two problems, obviously, you're still trying to find the angle. The setups for these would be the cosine of the unknown angle. 24 is the adjacent side. 36 is the hypotenuse. So in your calculator to solve this one, hit second cosine 24 divided by 36. So x is approximately 48.2 degrees. And the last one, the tangents of the unknown angle. Thirteen is opposite from the angle you're trying to find. 16 is adjacent. So that's how I knew we were going to use tangent. So when your calculator hits second tangent, 13 divided by 16. So about 39 degrees roughly. All right, so finally, word problems. All right, so a really quick instruction on to do the word problems. If you need further explanation, you can come see me after school sometime. But essentially, when we're drawing these triangles, you can draw it like the one that's drawn in this picture is fine. But generally in class, and all the students draw their triangle just like that. This angle right here can represent the angle of elevation. It can also really represent the angle of depression as well. So no matter what angle they give you in these problems, typically we're going to put it in the bottom left corner, as long as you orient your triangle just like I have here. So these two, there's already a diagram. So let's go to the one problem that does not have a diagram, and it's the tree casting shadow problem. This is one that shows up a lot. So again, we know our triangle. We know a sketch triangle for this problem is going to look like this. We have to determine from this word problem, first off, what we're trying to find. And usually we can find that at the end of the problem. It'll say, this one says find the angle of elevation of the sun. So the angle of elevation is going to be here in the bottom left. That's going to be our x. The other information they give us is a tree is 10 meters high. Of course, a tree stands vertically. You don't see a tree laying on the ground. A tree is not slanted. So the tree, of course, has to be the vertical height in this problem. So the 10 goes right here. It's opposite from the unknown angle. And then it tells us a tree casts a 17.3 meter shadow. Of course, when you go outside, your shadow lays flat on the ground. You'll see it. You're walking on the sidewalk. So your shadow is your horizontal. Always going to be horizontal. So now that you have a picture drawn, really it's just like all the problems we've done previously. We're attempting to find the angle here. So again, you're going to use the second key in your calculator. You should recognize 10 is the opposite side from x. 17.3 is your adjacent side from x. So that means we're going to use the tangent trig function to solve this problem. So in your calculator, hit second tangent, 10 divided by 17.3. And you should get your angle roughly as 30 degrees. All right, again, if you need more help, particularly with the application problems, come see me sometime after school. Good luck.